I would be fine in a zombie apocalypse, but when it comes to the dog, he's fucked. When it comes to my girl, she's done.
Done?
Yeah, but I'd be okay. But when it comes to them, forget about it. She'd be great. Hey, what's up? I'm Grant, Maguffin Man, here with my buddy Matt, just rehashing, watching the entire season of Luke Cage, season 1. Right now we're covering episodes, was it 4 through 6?
6.
4 through 6.
Episode 4 of Luke Cage starts off like, I mean, I thought this show was crashing. I thought it was like, I don't even know if I want to watch the rest of these episodes even. Like, it went so slow and boring, and it seemed bad, and just everything was off.
The story itself is, Luke Cage has the building fell on him, and you've got him while he's under this building trying to save his landlord, who the building also fell on, who somehow fucking survived that bazooka shot.
Thanks for giving us some sort of frame of reference before I went into
yeah. While he's passed out at first, it bounces back into the history of Luke Cage. So we're actually seeing how he got his powers, and like he was in prison, and like we're finding out all this history, and like the execution, honestly, for the first like 45 minutes was not good.
If you had to pick out a favorite part of the execution of everything, do you have a favorite aside from the beard?
I was just gonna say,
into the epic hair helmet.
The Luke Cage beard helmet. That's a good reference. I wouldn't fuck with him in prison, that's for sure.
Especially after watching him fight and everything. And he's supposed to be going down this road of, I'm in prison, and I'm probably, we don't even know what he's in prison for, but I'm in prison and I'm kind of innocent, but I'm not really going to talk about it. And here's this therapist, and I'll blow off some steam on her. And it's trying to go back and forth, and I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, I'm a good person.
I'm thinking back on the episode, it should have been good, but honestly, the first like 45 minutes, I was like, I'm not feeling this episode. And a lot was happening. Like he met his future wife, she's his therapist. He was getting her all hot because he's a pimp. We're also introduced to yet another douche white guy.
Evil white guy, evil blonde hair, blue eyes.
Straight up Nazi. God, could you imagine
if he had a German accent?
If the Nazis, though, had Southern accents instead of German accents. Prison Nazi, he forces Luke Cage, because Luke Cage makes a friend, of course, and protects this guy for no reason, and because he's a good person.
I'm just dying.
It's okay. Luke Cage ends up entering Prison Fight Club. The guards bet on prisoners to fight, and Luke Cage gets involved, and you get a nice little montage of Prison Fight Club. Again, the choreography I wasn't happy with.
I didn't mind the choreography of the fighting or anything like that, and I think that's kind of what I kept seeing, these little glimpses of. Remember what was awesome about this show? I kept seeing like those little glimpses of that. But like just the dialogue and its delivery and everything, not a fan of it at all.
Like you pointed out, the Luke Cage is when he first gets in prison and he doesn't have his powers yet. He's punching a wall, and you can tell this wall is not concrete. Like it moves, and it's noticeable production shit that could have been fixed. Let's get to the good part of episode 4.
The good part.
The last 10 minutes, we were like, oh shit, this is awesome. So Luke Cage takes a horrible beatdown in prison, and they decide to, basically, he agrees to go under this procedure to get healed, because his doctor's working on some random experience in the, experiments.
Well, he didn't even really agree to it. He just got the shit kicked out of him by Shades.
His ass whooped.
Yeah, dude. I would say this episode just picked up.
Yeah.
Even though that still felt down. It didn't feel as...
I got the shaky cam took me out of it.
And then when this therapist walks in, she's like, put him in this experimental trial
You've got to
know
save
nothing
him
about.
Because I love him.
I've never done it with anybody in his bad condition before.
I'm so hot for Luke.
Do it. Nazi poster boy walks back in, and he's like, no, we're pulling the plug. And of course,
fucks up the experiment.
That's the accident.
Then you get Luke Cage. The way they set him up in this machine to heal him, they put like the armbands on him. They got like the little crown, and it's just retro Luke Cage. It looked fucking awesome. Luke Cage's catchphrase is "Sweet Christmas" throughout the comics, and it's just something he says. I was waiting for this to happen, and he punches a hole through the wall.
The wall.
So he sees how strong he is, and you get a Sweet Christmas. There it is.
Oh!
Yes. That's what I wanted, motherfucker. Yes. And I was so excited to see that.
The last 15 minutes of this episode or so, it was cool and all, but I didn't know. I was thinking about how can I describe this, and I couldn't think of any other way to describe it other than it was like if you took an 80s video game and you updated the graphics to be on like a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
That's the way I could describe this. Like it felt like an 80s modern video game. I don't know what it was exactly about it. It was definitely the colors. It was definitely this weird technology because they make you feel like you're so much in like the late 70s, early 80s in this film so much. And then when you realize, wait a second, this is modern day. Like I get thrown off with that a lot. The punching out thing was pretty cool. Like how he's punching he's getting out of the wall.
So that's why he's a fugitive. That makes sense now. Answers.
And then he's getting out from underneath the building and everything. I just didn't like that his landlord was like, "Oh, I can't believe that you're a person with powers."
He's moving these giant chunks of concrete, and she's just like, "Why didn't you tell me about this?"
If I could be with anybody down here, it wouldn't be with somebody who could get me out.
Yeah. Episode 5.
The coolest things was that you see Cage in the barbershop, but the barbershop has since been shot up. Everything's been removed out of it. Even though they did this, what I found was really great was that, and this is a combination of art department working with camera and everything as well, but camera utilized all of this negative space that was in there really, really well. So you have this shot of the name of the chess player. Do you remember that guy? He was sitting on this couch, and the angle they have coming back up at him with the blues or with the browns and the greens. I mean, this is just a quality image. And I kept looking at images and seeing different characters. They started to become anchor points.
One of the first things I noticed in episode 5 was the reintroduction of the night nurse, the connection between all of the Netflix shows. She's the one character that's in everything, and she's just, does her role as a night nurse. She wasn't in episode 5 as much as she is in the next episode 6. But they reintroduced her. You saw she's with her mom. That's how she's in Harlem. So
she's talking about the ninjas and everything.
Right.
Which she's still surprised by anything and everything that possibly comes up. She's like, "You wouldn't believe this. There was this girl who could do this crazy power stuff, and you wouldn't believe this. There's this blind guy who can do it. You wouldn't believe." At some point you're like, no, I totally believe. Why wouldn't I believe that?
Didn't she lost her job in Daredevil, right? Or did she quit?
I think she quit. Because she definitely quit.
Okay, so she's jobless right now.
Yeah, she's jobless right now.
That's
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But you know what the problem I have with you, Grant, is that chaos rolls off of you like water off a duck.
Random line.
That has to be something.
I don't know what the reference is. I feel like I should though, because it was such an out there line. I don't know if it's like an inside joke between the people that made the show or the writers, but that line stuck out like a sore thumb. This episode also establishes how Cottonmouth is starting to lose his power and how Luke Cage is also starting to help the community a little more. It's kind of been a slow burn so far. Luke Cage really hasn't fallen into his hero yet.
He got to the end of it, and we did this eulogy at the funerals and everything. This when Cottonmouth got up there and he gave his speech, and then Luke Cage goes up there and he gives his speech. But I feel like Luke Cage immediately, something happened, and there was this switch to where he was all of a sudden being like I was telling you last night, he felt like Captain Planet or Captain America. He's like, stars and stripes, just gimmicky hero a little bit. Stand up and do the right thing. Help your community. Save a kid.
Got himself a suit.
He got himself a suit.
Maybe that's it. Got himself a fresh suit.
He did.
Which didn't last too long.
But we do see a lot more shades in this episode too.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. But I feel like I experience a lot more of him, but I have no new answers about who he is or what he's about.
An ongoing theme with this show so far, and you hear it every episode, is Pops would say, always moving forward, or moving forward always. And it's just, like I said, it's this ongoing theme where it's like, leave the past behind, press forward. So, and like I said, they address that every episode, so we had to speak about it at some point.
Yeah. And the swear jar, which is still around.
The swear jar is still around. Pops didn't like swearing, and now nobody can swear, especially if you're in the fucking barbershop. Throw down in the nightclub. Luke Cage doesn't like what's going on because Cottonmouth is terrorizing neighborhoods and saying, if you have a problem with this, go to Luke Cage. People go to Luke Cage. Luke Cage says, fuck this, goes straight to Cottonmouth's club and tears it up in his nice new suit.
Yeah, and he didn't give a shit either. I mean, like, as he was walking away, they're like, hey, this happened to me.
I'm on it.
Yeah, like, he's just going for it.
Diamond Mac is still a mystery, which I like so far. At the end of this nightclub scene throwdown, obviously Luke kicks shit out of all of Cottonmouth's, gang, and gets his nice shirt shot up. And in the end here, I just have this note: makes Cottonmouth his bitch.
Yeah.
Cottonmouth said something.
Fear there anymore.
Luke Cage doesn't fear him because Cottonmouth is starting to lose his power. Luke Cage walks away. Awesome ending. I liked everything that was going on. I like seeing Luke Cage help the community on a street level.
I feel like my only problem with 5 is that I feel like in 4 we experienced his origin story as maybe as much as we're ever going to experience of it, but we experienced his origin story. And then we come back to like the present, and all of a sudden, for some reason, his character has switched. And maybe it's because he saved the woman in the building when the bazooka hit the building, and he saved her and everything. Maybe there was something there about his character when he's buried under rubble, and he's just saying, you know what, I'm just gonna be known now.
Yeah,
this is how it is. But he switched. I mean, you're looking at an episode 5 versus episode 1 where he's sweeping up in the barbershop.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking at a completely different person.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if we've had the amount of time to be able to really experience why that change is occurring. Maybe we'll figure out what that is, or maybe I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah. So. And that brings us into episode 6.
Yes.
Luke Cage doing these things for the neighborhood and being on the news, seeing his strength. He is becoming more what they're calling
Rocky?
Hood famous.
Oh, Hood famous, right.
Hood famous.
I was thinking Rocky because in the beginning he's running
throughout
the entire city.
Total
I'm
Rocky.
starting to wonder, I'm like, does he need to work out? What does his routine need to be? If he P90Xs, does he get stronger or does it really not matter what he does?
And what would he have to lift to become stronger? All of Cottonmouth's weapons that got taken earlier from one of the safe houses were in lockup at the police station. So white guy, because he works for Cottonmouth, he's a corrupt motherfucker, got Cottonmouth's guns out, put him in a warehouse. Cottonmouth meets up with white guy, and some shit goes down. White guy establishes that Cottonmouth's losing power.
Can you call him Scarf, or do you have to call him white guy the entire time?
I think I've called him white guy the whole time.
Okay.
His name is Scarf, though, which isn't any better than white guy.
No, especially with an E on the end of it.
White guy tries to get more money out of Cottonmouth, and I think it's because he saw that he was losing power. And
I think it's because that he had guns for him.
Yeah, and more leverage.
Dude, you need to pay for him.
Right. So in a bad interaction, Cottonmouth jacks white guy in the face.
Damn.
This is the third occasion in this series where someone that probably should have definitely died
at that moment
survived, which is an occurring theme that I'm starting to get tired of because it just doesn't make any fucking sense. And Cottonmouth is becoming more ruthless. He should be murdering motherfuckers by now, especially if he shot him like what, 3 or 4 times.
I don't remember how many times he shot him, but I mean you're definitely watching him fall apart. But he's getting scared now. But we should see him lashing out more. Like he did when he had the baseball bat. And there are a lot of baseball bats in this
So many
TV
baseball
show.
bats. Night Nurse and Luke Cage reconnect. Luke Cage didn't recognize her at first because he was incapacitated when she took care of him in Jessica Jones.
Kind of got shot in the face by a shotgun.
That's right. And Night Nurse nursed him to health. And once she reminded him of that, he was like, oh.
We are doing a lot with color in this episode. When the councilwoman is talking to the camera and she's being recorded outside of her home, she's wearing this black blouse that has these purple flowers on it and everything. Everything else outside of her is oversaturated, and it looks like she's just sucking you in like a tractor beam right into the image. And I mean, she's doing everything she can to establish some sort of power and to support her movement and everything, which kind of goes downhill in this episode when they're doing the interview, and it really, really falls apart there. What I'm loving watching fall apart right now, though, is Cottonmouth. We see him falling apart in the second or third episode. We saw him take the crown of Biggie. And when he did that, I mean, that was this, you saw him as powerful and all this and that. And now you start seeing the camera start using the scene around him to be able to divide the two of them.
Every time Cottonmouth is in his office, you are seeing the picture of Biggie Smalls, and like I think that's like there's a lot of symbolism in just that picture.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, like the first couple episodes, he's in line with this picture, and then like every scene now you see, they get further and further apart.
You know that table that he has in his office, the super shiny one that I'm looking at, and I'm like, God, that's got to be a pain in the ass to light because you've got so many bounce coming off of that. But there's this window, all pure white, coming straight down, and then the reflection of that continues that, and it splits the screen in half between Biggie and between Cottonmouth on the other side. And so it's like, okay, now we have a divide here. The next time we see this image, we see Biggie in a mirror, and then we see Cottonmouth talking on the phone outside of it. And it's, you know, he can't see that from where he's at. He's blinded to it, and you know, that's something that's almost back behind him. It's in his past. He can't even access that anymore. The last time we see the Biggie Smalls picture and Cottonmouth in the same room together, it's Biggie Smalls on the wall, cops separating the two of them, and Cottonmouth up front, and he's getting arrested. Holy shit, that was a good wrap up to that episode and everything. But I mean, when you start playing and you start looking for this, this is art, and they're taking it to a really, really solid level.
Yeah,
I'm happy to see that.
I'm not someone that typically notices that kind of stuff, and I was even noticing it, and it looks great.
But it didn't feel heavy-handed.
No, like you said, Cottonmouth gets arrested. Let's work up to how that happened. White guy goes to Luke Cage. Luke Cage, conveniently, with Night Nurse, being a pimp, because he's always got his pimp on just in case. Night Nurse pulls a bullet out of his leg, and White Guy admits that he killed someone that was close, not to Luke, but to Papa. And that means a lot to Luke. And Luke kind of crosses this line where he wants to kill White Guy.
Even if she wasn't there, though, even if Night Nurse wasn't there,
I don't think he would have done it for sure.
Done it.
But he definitely threatens White Guy's life, and then he's like, you know what, I'm done with you. So Luke Cage starts to leave, and White Guy has this moment where he's actually like an amazing actor, like, and he pleads to Luke to help him, and just like it's probably one of the best acted scenes we've seen in the show.
Yeah,
and he's just like asking for help and drooling and pleading, and just says, I have the evidence to shut down Cottonmouth. And that's what gets Luke Cage to be like, And he's like, it's at my apartment. We gotta go.
Well, I mean, one cool thing that I've noticed with camera work in this one, too, is that every single shot, we're looking down on him. He gets into the barber chair, we're looking down on him. I mean, like, we're pulling the bullet out, we're looking down on him. When he comes to grips with the fact that he, as a person, not going to be around so much anymore, he decides to say, you know what, okay, I'm gonna give some of myself. Then that's the only time that we're actually on his level and we're looking like right into his eyes. Right after he gives that up, he goes back to looking right down on him. Like
he's still a scuzzball.
He's still a scuzzball, and that's all there is to it.
So that leads to a mediocre car chase between a van and his SUV. Come on. Luke Cage is trying to get White Guy to the precinct? The cops?
Yeah, getting down to the police station.
So they're taking him there. White Guy provides Luke Cage with the evidence that he needs to shut down Cottonmouth. So they're just chasing him, and Cottonmouth's thugs, they just unload on Luke in this episode, and Luke Cage has shown that bullets affect him. Probably, I wouldn't say pain, but more annoying than anything else. And now we're seeing bullets really, like assault rifles, he's fine.
Yeah.
So I think as he's maybe accepting his role as a hero, he's becoming stronger. He's stopping the SUV with his body, showing off more of his power. That was cool. I dug that.
I don't know. I kind of saw that coming, though, a little too much. I know that the creators of this can surprise me. They've already done it multiple times. But they've spoiled me, and I just want more surprises, like people getting thrown off of roofs instead of getting shot.
Yeah.
Which, then again, I did have when White Guy got shot in the very beginning of this, so I can't really complain too much. Damn it, you guys are crushing it.
So, yes, absolutely. And this also leads to kind of the wrapping up of the episode, and White Guy dies. moment of silence for white guy, which leads to Cottonmouth getting arrested. So that's pretty much the end of episode 6. I'm really not sure where this show's gonna go because we're kind of wrapping up the Cottonmouth story, and we know that Diamondback is this like in the shadows villain that was kind of running things with Juice.
Juice.
Juice Shades. I'm really hoping, since he's been arrested, I really hope we get to see an interaction between Cottonmouth and the Kingpin. I love the Kingpin. I love when he shows up. And he's in prison right now, so that would be so fucking cool to see. Episode 7 coming up. We'll catch you guys in a bit.
See ya.